I want to bring Patrick into the conversation now. I know, Patrick, you've been doing a lot of research about the Attorney General investigations that have already taken place in other states. From what you've researched, what do you think sets Wisconsin apart from these other processes that have been undertaken in other places? What's different here?
Yeah, thanks so much, Sarah. And I want to answer your question, but let me say thank you to you and the team in Awake. And I just want to pay tribute to the Fortney sisters and their family for their courage and their conviction. And I am honored to be sharing the Zoom room with you. So thank you all so much. As Janine was saying before, there are a number of states that have undertaken initiatives that are like what Attorney General Call has announced in Wisconsin. And on the legal side, they take different forms. So some are grand juries. Some states appointed what are called special masters to do an investigation. But I think I just want to focus on two distinctive features here, both of which I think will hopefully lead to greater information and more transparency going forward. So one thing, and Erin mentioned this in her introduction, is that the Attorney General didn't just reach out to the Catholic diocese in the state of Wisconsin, but also reached out to the religious orders. And I imagine many of the folks in our audience tonight will know the difference, but just as a quick refresher, in the Roman Catholic Church, there are sort of parallel governance structures going all the way back to the Middle Ages, actually, where on the one hand, the church is carved up geographically into dioceses and provinces and so on and so forth. And that's the structure most people know. Their parish is in a diocese, and that diocese is in a province that's, sort of more or less related to an archdiocese. But there's also this separate structure of religious orders. So you might think of the Dominicans or the Jesuits or the Benedictines, and there's a lot of sort of technical distinctions among them. But the thing about religious orders is that they have not been the focus of investigations in the other states. I'd hypothesize that may be because dioceses, because they're geographical units and they tend to follow state boundaries, are much more contiguous with the jurisdiction of the attorneys general. So in Pennsylvania, there were a number of dioceses. There are religious orders active in Pennsylvania, but their members might also have been in New York. Their members might also have been in Delaware. And so I think it's really wise of Attorney General Call to be reaching out to religious orders as well. I think it's a piece of the story of the sexual abuse crisis in the Roman Catholic Church that hasn't yet been told nearly enough. It's part of what we're working on in the project that I'm a part of at Fordham. The other thing I want to mention just picks up on another comment that Erin made, which is I had the chance to watch the recording of the Attorney General's press conference, and he and several of the other speakers made what I thought was a very poignant appeal, not just to victim survivors to come forward to share their stories, but for people on the inside of church institutions to do the same thing. And that explicit call for whistleblowing is one way of thinking about it, or witnessing to the truth. I know that in so many cases, it was a teacher at a school who saw something happen. It might be a secretary at a parish who saw something happen, a groundskeeper, a maintenance worker, all the way up, of course, to the people who work in the diocesan offices and the offices of the religious orders. And so I think this is a real moment of reckoning, because I don't think that there is any conflict of duty between a person as a Catholic and a person as a citizen of the state. Both the state and the church should be interested in wanting to repair what has happened in the past and find ways to minimize it ever happening again in the future. And so I think the Attorney General naming that and inviting folks from within the church to come forward is particularly important.